Imagine waking up to headlines that a US president just ordered the military to seize Greenland. Imagine waking up to headlines that a US president just ordered the military to seize Greenland. Imagine waking up to headlines that a US president just ordered the military to seize Greenland. What happens next? Would Denmark, or even NATO, move against the United States? Would Denmark, or even NATO, move against the United States? And what would that do to the US economy? First, the basics. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark with broad self-rule. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark with broad self-rule. The US already has a major base there at Thule. Buying Greenland? Legally possible if everyone agreed. Taking it by force? That's an invasion. Now, NATO. Article 5 is about collective defense when a member is attacked by an outside party. The US and Denmark are both inside NATO. There's no clean mechanism to invoke Article 5 against a fellow member. NATO runs on consensus, and there's no formal expulsion clause. So what actually happens is a political earthquake. Allies freeze cooperation with Washington, halt joint exercises, close bases to US forces, restrict overflight, cut intelligence sharing, and move to suspend the US in practice, even if not on paper. Denmark's direct military response would be limited. The US massively outweighs Danish capabilities, but Denmark wouldn't be alone. Expect a wall of coordinated economic and diplomatic pressure from Europe and other partners, sanctions on US officials and entities, export controls, asset freezes, and targeted trade measures. Inside the US, there's a constitutional brick wall. The military swears an oath to the Constitution, not a person. Unlawful orders can be refused. Congress controls funding and can block or defund operations. Courts can issue injunctions. Governors can deny guard deployments. You'd see a fast-moving civil, military, and constitutional crisis long before tanks roll anywhere. Markets? Brutal. Global investors hate uncertainty, especially geopolitical breakage among allies. I'd expect a rapid equity sell-off, a spike in credit spreads, and a jump in treasury yields as the risk-free label gets questioned. The dollar may wobble as reserve holders diversify. US multinationals face boycotts and compliance chaos. Supply chains, already fragile, get hit by export controls and sanction regimes. Ratings agencies consider downgrades. Trade would seize up. If the EU imposes sanctions, cross-Atlantic commerce, which is worth hundreds of billions, stalls. Tech flows slow under dual-use export bans. Energy and shipping insurers raise premiums. Corporate investment freezes. Hiring slows. Recession risk climbs. Would he come after Canada next? Practically no. Canada is a treaty ally, NORAD partner, and America's biggest trading partner. An attack on Canada would detonate the last bridges with the entire alliance system, trigger immediate trade collapse under USMCA, and face fierce institutional resistance at home. The political, legal, and economic costs make it a non-starter. So the most realistic path in this nightmare scenario isn't NATO rolling tanks against the US. It's allies isolating Washington, institutions inside the US slamming the brakes, and markets punishing the risk. Bottom line, a forced grab of Greenland would be strategically self-defeating, economically devastating, and almost certainly stopped by American institutions before it ever gets that far. In other words, the system is designed to make sure this doesn't happen. If you like these reality check what-ifs, hit subscribe and tell me what scenario I should break down next.